Okay, let's just dive right in. We're about to look at this list of laws from an ancient biblical text that, honestly, on the surface, looks completely random. But hidden inside all that apparent chaos is this incredibly sophisticated blueprint for building a meaningful life and society. And what's wild is how relevant it is for our world right now.
You know, there's this great old joke from the Cold War. A Soviet official is giving this fiery speech about how the USSR is going to overtake America in every single way. And when he's done, a man in the crowd raises his hand and says, "Comrade, just one question. If we succeed in overtaking America, can we stay there?" It's funny, but it asks a really profound question. What's the point of winning a race if you secretly want what the other guy has more than your own prize?
And that joke just perfectly frames the tension we're exploring. It's this constant tug-of-war, isn't it? On one side, you've got the shiny, seductive appeal of external progress, winning, achieving, looking good. And on the other, you've got the much tougher, much quieter path of internal growth, of building character and creating something that is actually meaningful from the inside out.
So believe it or not, an ancient section of the Torah, called Ki Tetse, is basically a masterclass in this exact paradox. Its core argument is that true, lasting progress can only ever happen when we get the internal stuff right first. But here's the thing. When you first read it, the text feels like a total mess. It's just a jumble of commands that seem to have nothing to do with each other. I mean, it leaps from rules about war to dysfunctional families, to returning a lost ox, to building safety railings on your roof. You have to ask, what on earth is the connection here?
And this gives you a real taste of the puzzle we're trying to solve. You see these highly specific, seemingly disconnected rules all thrown together. But here's the kicker. It's not random. Not at all. What looks like chaos is actually a super deliberate, step-by-step plan. All right, so our first clue to cracking this code is found in maybe the most extreme place possible: war. This is where you'd expect the focus to be 100% on external victory, on strategy and power. But nope, that's not what we find at all.
It's incredible. Instead of talking about battle plans, the text zooms right into a soldier's internal state. The very first law it brings up is about the beautiful captive. And it's not framed as some kind of reward or right of war. It's treated as a concession to our weaker nature, a dangerous impulse that has to be managed with incredible restraint.
And this is where it gets brilliant. The whole point of this law isn't to greenlight an impulse. It's to slam on the brakes, to force a timeout. It compels the soldier to step out of the heat of the moment and confront the long-term human reality of his actions. He has to see her not as a spoil of war, but as a grieving human being, before he makes a choice that will change both their lives forever. Now get this, because this is the crucial link. The text then draws a direct line from that one moment of poor judgment on the battlefield to total chaos back home, years down the road. It's teaching us that morality is like a set of dominoes. One small compromise can set off a destructive chain reaction that you never even saw coming.
So let's follow that domino. It's just fallen, and it's taking us from the heat of battle straight into the living room, right into a conversation about, well, about education.
And wow, the contrast is stark. So much of our modern approach to parenting can feel like the customer is always right? The goal is to satisfy a child's immediate wants, to make them happy in the moment. The Torah's approach is fundamentally different. It sees education as a mission. The goal isn't immediate happiness. It's about shaping a child's character and guiding them toward a life of meaning and contribution.
Which brings us to that really shocking law about the rebellious son. It sounds so extreme, but what the ancient commentators all say is, look, this probably never ever actually happened. Its purpose wasn't to be a literal punishment. It was meant to be a giant red, flashing warning sign about the incredibly high stakes of education. It's a powerful statement about a community's ultimate responsibility to build character and prevent a total moral breakdown.
Okay, so we've gone from the individual soldier to the family. Now let's zoom out and see how this whole focus on the internal completely reshapes the idea of law and order for an entire society.
Just look at this number, 70 years. It's staggering. It tells you everything you need to know. The goal of this justice system was not punishment. In fact, if a high court was actually carrying out executions, it was seen as a failure, not a success. The whole system was designed to be a moral anchor, a moral compass for society.
And if you think that's radical, get this. When the leaders saw that society's moral fabric was starting to fray, they didn't double down and get tougher. They did the exact opposite.
They physically moved the court, an act which, by their own rules, made it impossible for them to issue the death penalty. Think about that. They chose to weaken their own power to punish because upholding a higher moral value was more important than enforcement.
So, all of these clues, from self-control in war to values-based education to this idea of justice beyond punishment, they are all leading to the final piece of this puzzle, the grand finale of the entire section.
The text concludes with a command to remember the nation of Amalek. But look closely at the description of when they attack, when the people are tired and weary. You see, Amalek isn't just some external enemy. It's a symbol. It's a metaphor for that corrosive, cynical force that preys on us when we are internally, spiritually, and morally exhausted.
This right here is the ultimate internal struggle. It's the battle against that little voice in your head that says, it doesn't matter, just give up, what's the point anyway? It's the fight against the cynicism that creeps in when we're drained. And what the text is telling us is that confronting this internal enemy is the most critical battle of all.
And here it is, the hidden blueprint finally revealed. It's a deliberate sequence. Step 1, you have to establish stable, just leadership. Step 2, and this is the absolute core lesson of this entire text, you must win the internal battle against Amalek, against those forces of exhaustion and cynicism. And only after that internal victory can you move to the final step, building a physical center for a society rooted in meaning, purpose, and connection.
And that brings us full circle, right back to our opening joke. This ancient blueprint argues that the goal was never to simply overtake America or Egypt or any other external rival. The real goal is to build something so internally sound, so morally and spiritually strong, that you would never want to be anywhere else.
So it leaves us with this really powerful question. In our own relentless drive for external progress, in our careers, in our lives, in our societies, what internal work are we forgetting to do? What tired and weary parts of ourselves are we leaving vulnerable? It suggests that the most important construction project any of us will ever undertake is the one that happens on the inside.